Welcome back, nerds! Today we are looking at the underrated teams in DC and Marvel Comics that don't get nearly all the flowers that they deserve. 5. DC's Challengers of the Unknown. The Challengers of the Unknown were a bunch of normal but above average guys flying to go be guests on a radio show called Heroes. Of course, their plane went down, but the 4 survived. After the crash, they all have that life is really short moment and decide that they should challenge the unknown together. Challenging the unknown is exactly what these guys did, on their own or for hire. Like in the case of Pandora's Box, something that you really are not supposed to open, but they did. They were offered $1 million, so I get it. They take on jobs that are just too out there for the regular human to handle. They worked with the Pentagon, one member lost their sight along the way, so a different member gives them an eyeball. Their mountain home base is destroyed by the personification of evil. They just really can't catch a break. But I love that this DC team is real people who had semi-regular jobs and just started conquering challenges together despite not receiving any superpowers. 4. Operation Lightning Storm. This is Marvel. Somehow this team did not include Thor. I know about it though because it did include one of my favorite superheroes, Sleepwalker. Despite limited appearances, the team was quite impressive. After the events of Civil War, Tony Stark requested that Carol lead the mighty Avengers. She agreed, but only if she got a second team. Their purpose was to take out villains before they became an Avengers level threat. A covert strike team that could use any S.H.I.E.L.D. resource they wanted, even though they weren't technically part of the S.H.I.E.L.D. official lineup. Other members of the team include Machine Man, Agent Sum, Agent Locke, Agent Baines, and Doc Farrell. The reason this team has a very limited appearance run is because they captured an imposter, Miss Marvel, that upon discovery of being an imposter, she hit self-destruct and took the team's base down with her. Doc Farrell and Agent Baines didn't make it. 3. DC's Hawk and Dove. Hawk and Dove are the physical manifestation of the duality of the universe, inspired by the political climate of the 1960s, with the characters debuting in 1968. Those in favor of war were often referred to as Hawks, and the Dove is commonly associated with peace. So, from that, we get the aggressive Hawk and the level-headed Dove. In the DC universe, the Lords of Chaos and Order decided to bestow the powers on the set of brothers, Hank and Don Hall, making them effectively War and Peace. They wore matching outfits, red and blue. The pair worked well together, as Hawk was shoot first, ask questions later kind of vibe, whereas Dove was made sure to provide the compassion and solutions that didn't require physical conflict. A perfect balance that was unfortunately thrown out of whack when Dawn passed on during the Crisis on Infinite Earths fiasco. It would be disastrous if just War was out here on their own, so a replacement had to be found, and that was Dawn Granger, chosen for being level-headed and willing to find compromise and see reason and other perfect peaceful qualities. After the loss of his brother, Hank took some time getting used to his new counterpart, but eventually accepted her. 2. Avengers 1950s. The Avengers weren't the first Avengers team that Nick Fury created. Avengers 1959 were the OGs, and the team was all villains. Earth's mightiest heroes were, I guess, technically named after Earth's biggest problems. The 1959 Avengers team was created at the order of President Eisenhower, composed of Sabretooth, Kraven the Hunter, Dominic Fortune, Namora, Bloodstone, and Silver Sable. We love the vintage aesthetic, and to society, I guess they were right for the missions they went on, which was defeating Red Skull and his Yahtzee with an N Captain America. The team's efforts were pretty much focused on defeating various bad guys that belonged to the Yahtzees. Because the Avengers did so much good defeating all those bad guys, Nick pardoned all the past crimes of the team members, which is really interesting thinking about what some of them have done, but whatever. The team operated in the 1950s but debuted in 2011. And finally, number 1, Justicia. Justicia is the Justice League of Mexico that first appeared in Suicide Squad Most Wanted, El Diablo, and Amanda Waller, but only 2 times and then nothing. The team is led by El Dorado, the Superman with bonus powers of teleportation and telepathy. There are 3 other members on the team: Akarada, a skilled martial artist, an acrobat that wears a Mayan artifact that gives her teleportation abilities. Then we have El Muerto, an undead hero, which makes him hard to hurt the way you might hurt someone who's alive. And finally, we have Iman. He wears a suit of armor that gives him super strength. There are some connections between the team and the actual Justice League. El Muerto used to idolize Superman, and Iman received a scholarship from Wayne Enterprises. Iman and Batman also share similar parent trauma. Each individual hero has had a handful of appearances, it's just the team that hasn't come up much, but I think they're neat and should get more chances to show off together. James Gunn is a talented filmmaker with a knack for making you fall in love with even the most obscure underdog. He did it with Guardians of the Galaxy, he did it with Mr. Terrific, and now we want him to shine a light on these underrated heroes. 10. The Question. I think a dedicated series about The Question would go so hard. The idea of a man so terrible that he had to literally be erased from history, cursed to walk the earth questioning who he was and is, the intrigue, the drama if he finds out who he really was and how it differs from the man that he has come to be. A miniseries is the ideal, probably animated considering his lack of face, although it would be interesting to see how that no face thing would go in a live action. They already figured out how to edit out Henry Cavill's mustache, and tech has only gotten better. 9. Plastic Man. Plastic Man is underrated in the sense that he's often underestimated because his comics are quite goofy and the general public just isn't familiar with his game. Plastic Man is likely immortal and practically indestructible. His two weaknesses are extreme temperatures and, oddly enough, cornstarch, as tested on his son. But Plastic Man is one of those heroes that you don't want to turn evil because they can't be destroyed, only subdued or slowed down. He would fit a cartoon format perfectly, whether it's directed at older or younger fans. 8. Wonder Girl, specifically Yara Flor. Yara's mother was an Amazon that left to travel the world. She fell in love with a Brazilian deity and had Yara. Yara didn't grow up with her parents, but instead was raised in Idaho. Yara became a hero almost immediately upon returning to Brazil, but her journey to joining the Justice League and becoming Wonder Girl was turbulent to say the least. I think there is an opportunity here to create a compelling story about fighting for a place when you're caught between two worlds, mixed in with very interesting mythology from both Brazil and Themyscira. It's pretty hard to include Wonder Girl without a Wonder Woman, but that is not my issue to figure out, and the Wonder Woman movie is allegedly coming quick anyways. 7. The Human Target. Christopher Chance, the master of disguise that protects his clients by literally becoming them, carved out a unique niche in the security industry. He mastered disguise and impersonation so thoroughly that he could fool even the best trackers and mercs. I personally love a spy story. This is giving very much Mission Impossible. It could make a good standalone series or epic feature length that would honestly be pretty easy to make and happen since everyone is just a human in masks. 6. Black Lightning. After a successful TV show, it is clear that the people like Black Lightning and want more of him. Black Lightning made history in 1977 as DC's first black superhero to headline his own series. The character's electricity powers are cool enough on their own, but he was a superhero from the get-go. He worked hard to become an Olympian and protect his community from violence, proving that even after life's setbacks, anyone can make history. 5. Century Babies. I am quite fascinated by the idea of century babies. Someone born exactly at the stroke of midnight, ringing in the new century, is going to become a superhero essentially. The theory for these people are they act as an immune system or antibodies for the Earth, their existence protecting Earth from upcoming threats, and they could even represent an aspect of the century's culture into which they are born. This comes from the Wildstorm universe, the same universe The Authority comes from. The Authority movie was confirmed or is like being developed, so there is a very real possibility of century babies hitting the big screen soon. 4. Marilyn Moon Knight. I am begging, pleading, and I will get on my knees if I have to. James Gunn, please figure out a way to bring Marilyn Moon Knight to life. Marilyn is a vigilante from the wild metropolis west, but nobody is serving the way that she does. The word diva was made for this superhero. Not only is her cowgirl outfit the thing of dreams, but she rides a glowing horse and can manipulate moonlight. She was active in the early days of Metropolis and resurrected in the modern day, so she is more ghost than alive. There's a lot to work with here. You can do a time travel epic, you could do an origin story western, or a modern day ghost action thriller. 3. The Heckler. James Gunn said that he wants to play with different genres and have every project feel different, so sir, I raise you the 90s underrated gem, the Heckler. Described as the Bugs Bunny of the DC universe, this hero has no superpowers, just the ability to annoy his villains into defeating themselves, which is a skill all on its own. The Heckler, being from the 90s, lives in a very stylized, funky world. His main adversary is Boss Glitter, a villain that dresses like Prince and hides his identity with old Mardi Gras masks. This would do well either as a mature adult animation, those are quite popular, or even as a live action event. I think that Tim Burton could be a great director for this world, but that's just me. 2. Princess Amethyst. If Gunn was looking to expand to younger audiences, Princess Amethyst would be a perfect pick. She is from Gem World, a planet where its inhabitants get their powers from crystals. So I guess not only great for little ones, but also crystal lovers. This would be a really great animated show, the colors, the princess warrior of it all, what's not to love, am I right? And finally, number 1, Phantom Stranger. The Phantom Stranger's history is so interesting and dense that I think it could make some really good TV. A movie might not be enough time to really get into this character, but a miniseries would be perfect. He has the redemption arc to end all redemption arcs, and he would be a good way to introduce the bigger powers to the DCU without it being super overwhelming. I would also love to see the Phantom Stranger in the public consciousness just to see how people react to him. It depends on the backstory the DCU chooses to go with, but I really want to see how people would feel if they went with the whole Judas thing. His necklace being the pieces of silver does go hard though.
The Avengers are seriously overrated and wouldn't last a minute against some of Marvel's lesser known heroes. Imagine Squirrel Girl's empathy disarming them, or Nighthawk using his secret dossier to exploit their every weakness. The Avengers are not as tough as they seem. It's time to root for the underdogs. Let's kick off our countdown with number 6, the 90s hero who might not be a household name but packs a serious punch, Darkhawk. Also known as Chris Powell, this hero can transform into a powerful android thanks to his alien amulet, granting him enhanced strength, speed, and durability. He can take flight, unleash devastating energy blasts, and even project a protective force field, not to mention those awesome glider wings that define his silhouette. Darkhawk's suit is incredibly adaptable with its cool morphing ability, allowing him to adjust to different combat situations. He possesses an accelerated healing factor, quickly recovering from injuries, but the real kicker is Darkhawk's connection to the Data Song, a universal hive mind that links all Darkhawks across the cosmos. This connection gives him access to a vast database of knowledge and even the potential for mind control. Imagine the chaos he could unleash against the Avengers, turning them against one another or predicting their every move. Think of Darkhawk as a potent fusion of Iron Man and Spider-Man, but with even more versatility. He could challenge Iron Man with his energy blasts and force field, rival Spider-Man's agility, and even give Thor a run for his money with his ability to teleport through stargates. This ability to teleport could be a real game changer against a powerful opponent like Thor. Moving on to our next contender, we have Dr. Walter Newell, better known as Stingray. This brilliant oceanographer and engineer designed a powerful battlesuit that grants him superhuman strength and durability, making him a force to be reckoned with both in and out of the water. He can glide through the air with specially designed fins, swim at incredible speeds, and even unleash potent electrical bolts, adding a shocking element to his offensive capabilities. His suit is equipped with advanced sonar scanners, enabling him to detect even the stealthiest of opponents, a skill that would be invaluable against sneaky Avengers. As an added bonus, Stingray's suit provides him with radiation protection, a crucial defense against powerhouses like Iron Man or the Hulk. While often perceived as an aquatic hero, Stingray's powers are surprisingly effective on land as well. His strength is comparable to the Hulk's, allowing him to go toe-to-toe with the Green Behemoth. The electrical blasts from his suit possess the power to stun even the mighty Thor. His extensive experience fighting alongside Namor against formidable foes like Tiger Shark has honed his tactical knowledge to a sharp edge. Just imagine the epic clash if Stingray were to take on Iron Man in an underwater battle. That would truly be a battle for the ages, showcasing the full potential of his unique abilities. Don't let the seemingly whimsical name fool you. Squirrel Girl is one of the most deceptively powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe. Doreen Green, blessed with squirrel-like abilities, possesses superhuman strength, agility, razor-sharp claws, and, most importantly, the unique ability to communicate with and command squirrels. She even has retractable knuckle spikes for an extra dose of combat effectiveness. Her track record speaks volumes. She's taken down formidable foes like Dr. Doom, befriended the planet-devouring Galactus, and even defeated a clone of the Mad Titan, Thanos. Squirrel Girl's physical prowess rivals that of Spider-Man, and her ability to communicate with squirrels effectively grants her an army of furry allies, ready to swarm and overwhelm opponents at her command. Beyond her physical and communicative abilities, Squirrel Girl is also incredibly intelligent and resourceful, often outsmarting her adversaries with clever tactics. However, what truly sets her apart is her profound empathy. She might be able to de-escalate a conflict with the Avengers by appealing to their better nature, or perhaps even sow discord among them, turning them against one another with her surprisingly effective persuasive skills. Who knows what kind of brilliantly unorthodox plan she could devise to defeat the Avengers, proving that underestimation can be a grave mistake. Hold on to your hats, Marvel fans, because coming in at number 3 is a hero who could give Batman a run for his money. Kyle Richmond, the enigmatic Nighthawk, is essentially Marvel's answer to Batman, a master of the shadows and a formidable force in his own right. A skilled martial artist and brilliant strategist, Nighthawk further enhanced his abilities through a special alchemical serum. This serum grants him peak human strength, agility, and durability, especially amplified during the nighttime hours, making him a true terror in the darkness. He possesses a unique second sight, an ability that allows him to anticipate his opponent's next moves, giving him a significant edge in combat. But here's the real game changer. Nighthawk, in a morally ambiguous move, has stolen a detailed dossier containing comprehensive information on how to defeat each member of the Avengers. Armed with this knowledge, he could meticulously exploit their weaknesses, turning their own strengths against them. Imagine him launching a stealthy nighttime assault against the Avengers. They wouldn't stand a chance against his calculated attacks. Nighthawk's fighting prowess and strategic brilliance could easily rival Captain America's, and his array of gadgets could give even Iron Man a serious headache. With the stolen dossier in his possession, he essentially holds the ultimate cheat sheet for dismantling the Avengers, making him an incredibly dangerous adversary. Get ready for a cyborg showdown, because next up is the one and only Deathlock. Deathlock, the ultimate cyborg soldier, is a force to be reckoned with, boasting superhuman strength, speed, durability, and a truly devastating arsenal of weaponry. He can seamlessly interface with computer systems, possesses enhanced senses that allow him to perceive the world in ways humans can only dream of, and even has the ability to regenerate from injuries, making him incredibly difficult to put down. Throughout his history, there have been multiple iterations of Deathlock, each with unique abilities and technological upgrades, adding to the character's versatility. He's capable of tracking multiple targets simultaneously, making it nearly impossible for the Avengers to escape his sights. Deathlock's sheer power and advanced technological enhancements could potentially overwhelm a majority of the Avengers. He possesses the strength to trade blows with the Hulk and the weapon systems to challenge even Iron Man's advanced armor. Furthermore, his ability to hack into computer systems could give him control over Stark technology, turning the Avengers' own tech against them. However, there's a critical caveat. Deathlock is programmed with a no-killing parameter, which could limit his options when facing the Avengers, but also make him a more unpredictable opponent, forced to find creative solutions. And consider this, what if the ingenious Iron Man manages to hack into Deathlock's systems and reprogram him, turning this powerful cyborg against the other heroes? That scenario would undoubtedly be a real game changer, flipping the script on the Avengers entirely. Prepare to enter the mindscape, because at number 1, we have the mind-bending hero, Sleepwalker. Hailing from another dimension, the enigmatic Sleepwalker patrols the mindscape, a realm intrinsically connected to the minds of all living beings. This alien protector possesses superhuman strength and durability, the power of flight, and a unique ability known as his warp gaze. This gaze allows him to manipulate matter at a fundamental level, making him a formidable reality warper. He can also amplify the psychic abilities of others, a skill that could have devastating consequences in the wrong hands. Additionally, Sleepwalker is able to sense energy trails, a talent that would make tracking down the Avengers a relatively simple task. Sleepwalker's reality warping powers pose a significant threat to the Avengers. He could ensnare them in elaborate illusions, drastically alter the environment to his advantage, or even turn their own powers against them in a terrifying display of power. His ability to enhance psychic abilities could make an already powerful telepath like Scarlet Witch even more dangerous, potentially unleashing chaos on an unimaginable scale. Imagine him infiltrating the Avengers' minds while they sleep, subtly manipulating their dreams and turning them against each other before they even wake up to confront the threat. However, Sleepwalker is not without his vulnerabilities. Certain frequencies of light can disrupt his powers, creating a potential weakness. Could a tech genius like Iron Man exploit this vulnerability with a specially designed light-based weapon, effectively neutralizing the threat Sleepwalker poses?
There are the Avengers mainstays we all think about, and then there are the other heroes. The ones who most people don't even think of when they think Avengers, or maybe don't think of at all. Everyone always forgets about Eric Masterson. Who is he? Well, he used to basically be Thor. For a while, Eric wielded Thor's hammer and took on his role as the Thunder God. Eventually, he'd go on to become his own hero, taking up the mantle of Thunderstrike, and no longer wielding Mjolnir, but instead his own mace weapon that looks similar to Thor's. I feel like, Eric Masterson has also been gone for a long time. Definitely not gonna see him anytime soon, but it's good to remember Thunderstrike existed and he was cool. Next up, this is another character who I feel like has been gone for a very long time indeed. I feel like Machine Man would actually be a really interesting hero to have return in the comics in the modern age. Machine Man, also known as X-51, was a robot who was made as part of an experiment to see if robots could basically behave like humans. Sound familiar? While the experiment overall failed, X-51 did seem capable of behaving and thinking like a human himself due to the fact that he was raised like a human, a theory his creator, Aaron Stack, was attempting to test. So X-51 was like the one outlier of the batch. X-51 would take up the name Aaron Stack in honor of his creator, continuing to work towards Stack's dream of robot and human coexistence. He goes on a few adventures and even becomes an Avenger, but eventually leaves Earth to go off with the Celestials. And I'm pretty sure we've never seen him again. So, speaking of people that go off to space and do cool space things, Moondragon is a hero who doesn't get as much love from the Avengers in the comics. Now, sure, she's been around on the Guardians of the Galaxy team, but why not on the Avengers? For Guardians, she was given some love in Volume 6, but was also later believed dead in that same volume. Although more recently, it's actually been revealed that she's still alive in the 2024 annual. But while she's been doing okay in the comics for the Guardians, there is another area that I feel like she was kind of snubbed in, other than the Avengers. I just also really wanted her to be on the Guardians of the Galaxy team in the MCU. I was really hoping in Volume 3 we'd get a Moondragon appearance. Sadly though, that never happened. I just really wanted Drax to like reconnect with Moondragon in the films and like learn that his daughter was still alive in spirit at least, and like have them reconnect, but no. No, that never happened. I mean, Drax still got to unlock his most dad form though, so I'm still cool with that and ultimately happy for him. I still think he got a pretty good ending, but come on, that would have been awesome, wouldn't it? Come on, James Gunn. I really wanted Moondragon. I would be Moondragon if someone wanted, I would shave my head to be Moondragon. That's how much I love her. Moondragon's great. Heather Douglas, underrated. Look, here's the thing. I love Laura and I just think she got snubbed by the Avengers. If you've seen my video on X-23 and her complete history here on the channel, then you know that she is a character who pretty much has ties to all major players in the Marvel Universe. And if you haven't seen that video, you should go check it out because it's super cool and I put a lot of work into it. Now, when it comes to Laura and all of her connections, this of course includes the Avengers. There was a time when she left the X-Men to find her place in the world, and part of that trip kind of involved joining the Avengers team. Well, not the mainstay team, although she has acted as an ally to the main Avengers team before. Laura was actually recruited to the Avengers Academy. But you know what? We don't talk about Avengers Academy enough, so I'm gonna include Laura on this list. While she does manage to get a lot thrown her way over in the X-Men world, I feel like Laura's time with and connection to the Avengers has been somewhat forgotten in recent years and downplayed. Personally, I feel like she may even fit better on the Avengers team as opposed to the X-Men. That might be a hot take, but there it is. And let's be real, while we did try to heal wounds after Avengers vs. X-Men, there's still a lot of work to do in regards to those two teams really coming together, and X-23 could be a part of that continued healing. Or at least a version of X-23. I think she might still be, you know, she's out right now. She's down for the count. We have young X-23 though, but older X-23. You know what I mean. Speaking of Avengers Academy, Reptile is super underrated. He's such a fun character. He has not appeared either on the main Avengers team, but was recruited to Avengers Academy. Man, I just really want to see the Avengers Academy team get to like be Avengers together. Isn't that the whole point of Avengers Academy? To train people up to be Avengers? I feel like none of them, I feel like so few of them become Avengers. I would love it even just for a few issues. Even if it was like a guest appearance, I'd really like it. I just think it would be really cool. Reptile is basically like a dinosaur superhero. He isn't specifically a dinosaur, but he can basically modify his body or his power set based on those of prehistoric creatures. He can give himself wings, gain super strength, or even enhance his senses. I don't know what it is for me and animal characters, but we're continuing that theme with our next hero on our list. Honestly, I feel like Tigra is a very well-loved character among the fans, and she just doesn't get much love in the comics. At least not in regards to her place on the Avengers team. Now, if you're a Tigra fan, you can find her in Vengeance in the Moon Knight right now, where she's basically carrying on like Mark's work, fighting as a hero, but when it comes to her working with the Avengers, that hasn't happened for some time. Quite some time. Tigra was featured prominently as a member of the team back in the 80s, so if you remember those days, then yay, but for those that love Tigra but weren't around in the 80s, sad. How is it that we got a She-Hulk show and there was no Hellcat in there? Yeah, I'm continuing with the cat theme, friends. That honestly seems criminal to me. Hellcat is Patsy Walker. She was a member of the Avengers back in the 1970s. Most recently, she was around in the comics where she teamed up and partnered up romantically with fellow Avenger member Iron Man, aka Tony Stark. Following that, she was given her own series, but it was only a limited run, only a few issues. Limited. Not what I like to hear when I'm like, I want more of this character. What I miss are the days when Patsy was more prominently featured and actually had an ongoing series, but it feels like those days are behind us currently. Now she's less of a lead or team mainstay and more of just like a straight up supporting role. And even then, we couldn't get her in a supporting role in the live action She-Hulk. That just tells you how far she's fallen. from the stars. This next hero might be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm gonna say it. Hank Pym deserved better. I know on our part 1 for this list I talked about Janet, and don't get me wrong, I obviously love Janet Van Dyne, and I also thought that she deserved better. In fact, I put her on part 1, so clearly I think the lack of Jan we've gotten is more of an emergency than Hank, but at the same time I feel like Hank as well has had it really rough. In fact, we don't even have Hank in the comics right now as Ant-Man because he's dead. Hank went from being a brilliant scientist and Avenger to someone who was mainly known for mistreating his wife, Janet, and being super troubled. We'd later learn that he was undiagnosed bipolar for many years, hence all of his mood swings and trouble with his identity, and just when it seemed like Hank actually might be getting better, he instead got merged with Ultron, and through that, basically was like killed. Unfortunately, we lost him at a time when I feel like he could have truly grown and evolved even more as a character. That could have been a powerful message too. This idea that you can have a mental illness or a neurodivergence and learn to not only deal with it, but thrive with it. That your mental illness doesn't have to define you. Like, hello, that would be a super powerful message. But no, Hank doesn't get to have redemption. He just dies. While a lot of these characters have been people that I've known and loved throughout Avengers history, this next one is one that I kind of just found out about, and I'm very perplexed that it's taken me this long. How am I just learning about Stingray now? Where has this character been all my life? I thought when it came to Marvel, Namor was the main character we had for the seas, and of course this is true. He is generally who people think of when they think Marvel-based oceanic hero or anti-hero, but we shouldn't only think of him because guess what? We have Stingray! Stingray is acclaimed oceanographer and engineer Walter Newell. When I was a kid, I actually wanted to be a marine biologist, fun fact about me. I also wanted to be a singer, but marine biologist was honestly my first love before I even wanted to be a singer or performer in any way. Yeah, I was kind of a weird kid. So a guy who is an oceanographer studying the oceans and who also helps fight to protect them is my hero. Stingray would go on to join the Avengers through basically becoming their landlord? I'm not kidding. He had a hydro base that he maintained with his wife and he offered it as the headquarters to the Avengers. It would go on to become Avengers Island. At one point the mansion was trashed and they basically ended up moving to the hydro base, which like I said, then we come to know as Avengers Island. Stingray has also acted as an ally to Namor and the two have teamed up together and been friends for some time. Until more recently when Namor apparently forgot all about that friendship and then tried to kill Walter by getting some sharks to attack him. Rude, Namor. Rude. Earth, air, water, fire. This is a character who has learned to master them all. No, we're not talking about the Avatar, we are talking about the Inhuman hero, Crystal. Crystal is one of the best heroes we have when it comes to someone who can bend the elements to her will. But does she get any love? No. People know Storm, and of course Storm is awesome. People know Iceman, also an awesome character, but what about Crystal? In general, I feel like the Inhumans do not get enough love, but Crystal for me is really up there when it comes to some of the coolest Inhumans we have, both in terms of her abilities and her origin. She's basically an Inhuman princess who is often shown to want to explore the outside world, the world outside Atalan. This is how she runs into the Fantastic Four, and then ends up joining their team temporarily, and she also ends up running into the Earth's mightiest heroes, the Avengers, and also ends up joining them for a time. I just love a runaway princess story, what can I say? I think it's just such a fun story.